How confident are you that a company that's primarily built on product and engineering can figure out sales? I mean, Karp said in the last AIPCon they were getting a year's worth of demand in 1 month, and I don't think he's lying about that. But I think that's ultimately like that's his biggest fantasy, is like that the company would be so good that they would have that much inbound because the product is just that amazing. But even with that much inbound, and maybe they have like a 70% close rate on that, for that S curve of growth, it's got to be like you got to pound the wall with sales. Do you feel confident that they'll figure that problem out over the next couple of years?
No, I'm not confident.
I think all of us kind of feel like that, to be fair, as well.
I'm hopeful about it. Okay. I mean, and given that Palantir is my singular investment in my long-term US equity account, and I also trade options on Palantir at times in my short-term account as well, but I'm hopeful about it. I'm not confident about it.
Why are you not confident about it?
Okay. So I need to give you first a bit of context about it. That I think first there is a industry, there is a structure problem in the enterprise industry itself, which everyone is facing, including Palantir, and somehow given their strategy, it doesn't fit them well. Amit, go back 15 years when the cloud was in infancy. What was the promise cloud gave? Cloud said that enterprise can pay as you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the promise it has brought in. Okay, that means you can convert. You don't have to invest capital now. It can become your operating expense.
Right.
Okay. So if you are starting a business, and for to start that business, you need $1 million, and that after $1 million, you will generate a revenue of $50,000 per month. Let's say. So what is the biggest challenge is how to get that $1 million. Okay. But then you say, okay, I don't have to spend this money now. That means if once I get 50,000, I can pay 40,000 of expenses out of it. So that barrier has gone. So that was the promise of cloud. Okay. To reduce that initial barriers. Now, but what is happening in enterprise as of today? You take a company, if it is selling a software, it will take a license from Oracle, it will take a license from .NET, it will build its product, and it will sell the desktop. That was happening in 2010.
Right.
Now, today, if you have to do it in an enterprise setting, you need partnership with Dataiku, you need partnership with TIBCO, you need partnership with Microsoft, and you need partnership with everyone else. And everyone else is using your product. So now if client want to understand how your pricing is done. So what you do, you cannot show because you are transitioning from old model to new model and you don't want to cannibalize your revenue. So what you do, you make everything as a black box. And then client who is buying and client thinks, yeah, am I doing right thing buying this product? Because I have already my own cloud partners and other partners. How do I optimize them? I have my own inbuilt. So Clyde had his own investment in digital transformation. So in order to do that, client also make things opaque for them. Oh, we will not tell you this, we will not tell you this. We need things like this. Can you deliver this? And that becomes. So technically what is happening is that the process of selling and buying, the two organizations that are interacting with each other, they are very complex. When it is complex, then what happens is the decision criteria of people in organization actually increase. That means it goes levels above. So at the end of the day, what happening is CEO and CDOs are talking to each other. So industries, a lot of industrial industries are moving from what we used to call a bottom-up sales model to a top-down sales model. So when you go to a top-down sales model, the organizations have to restructure accordingly, which a lot of organizations have not done.
Right.
Okay, when we talk about B2B, you need to understand B2B has a lot to do. A bigger stage of B2B is always like this industrial sectors of the company. So this transition as of today has not happened. And because this transition has not happened today, the enterprise sales process has become longer. So this is against what the cloud has promised. Cloud has promised that you buy it as you go.
Right.
But that process of buying is now quite long. So today when Alex says that the demand of 1 year is coming in 1 month, the question is, it has nothing to do with the sales length process. The sales length process is still there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I'm not optimistic. I'm hopeful. The second thing is, this is a fundamental shift. Okay. Then what will happen in this kind of scenarios, companies with lower entry barriers, Okay, you say, oh, we need to take this decision. This decision is 15 million. This decision is 5 million. You have money. You say, okay, at least let's take this 5 million decision for now. Will 50 million, we need more. So problem is that how well your product is tiered. Okay, can Alex go and Alex say, okay, in the meantime, you'll figure it out. Why don't you try this? For this, you're only paying 100,000 a month. Okay, so this is where a bit of challenge. So in go-to-market strategy, that's what I say when you talk about that how tiered the product is. I think certain companies have certain advantages. Palantir don't have that advantage. Palantir have an advantage that when a company is completely in crisis, they say, we don't care who are we going to work it. We don't care how much money. We need this problem solved now.
Right.
So when you have that kind of a desperate company, they only have one place to go, and that is Palantir.
So you continue to be all in on Palantir, even with the lack of confidence around sales, because you just think that the product is strong enough to propel the sales cycle over the next 5-10 years.
See, my bet is that, like, for example, when we are discussing about this generational disruption, see, when disruption will come, many companies will become desperate. And when the companies are desperate, like I said, the more desperate you are, the higher the chance for you to go to Palantir. Okay. I mean, it's not business as usual. See, for example, so I'll give you an example. Okay. And I think it makes a lot of sense. So, for example, you see the case of Twitter today. And we are saying, is Twitter going to compete with the threats is coming? See, at the end of the day, what is happening here? If Twitter has to become a super app, that means Twitter has to have answer of a lot of social media that exists today. That means at some point of time, Twitter has to hire a lot of people.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you can sustain with 20% workforce what Twitter is today. You cannot build a super app that can compete with YouTube and Meta and Instagram with that kind of workforce. So have they started that? No, they have not started that. Okay. And that is one of the reasons, like today, Meta has gone a bit on offensive because they know, okay, it will come after us one day. Why don't we start the offensive from our side? So the point it is saying is that at some point, this kind of war between different companies, one company became desperate. Okay. When it becomes desperate and it knows that there is no other way to succeed without showing excellence, the question is, can you bring that kind of excellence from outside?
Right.
Okay. So I'm just making an example here. Suppose at some point of time, you say, okay, suddenly we cannot increase our workforce with the kind of attitude we need for the people 20 times to compete with Meta. So can we build solutions faster with lower people? And this is where you say, okay, what products in the market helps us? Okay. So a company in that kind of desperation mode can say, okay, why don't we go and try Palantir? Okay. So this kind of desperation has always happened in industries. Okay. It happened in mobile phones. It happened during the .com. It happened. Now we are seeing in the EV industry. This will happen. Okay. So at this particular point, it's a good bet. Okay. I mean, again, like kind of investing I do. I mean, I use sometime options both up and down. I think Palantir suits my strategy. I mean, I know the company, and my understanding is I know this company better than a lot of people.
Right.
I know a bit of sector. I know both in terms of industry. So I'm more comfortable of holding this for longer terms than a company for which I hear everything new in every earning call about strategy. So that's how I see it.